The concept of bullying has always been extremely strange to me, and it's always been very prevalent all throughout the history of basically schools existing. Now, I will say I was pretty lucky in myself of like I didn't really get bullied. That people like poke fun at me for like not playing sports 100%, but like honestly, it never bothered me. I would say like that was the extent of how it really happened to me. Is like people would basically poke fun that I didn't play sports, even though I played sports my entire life. I just didn't play the ones that they were playing basically. So it was so weird to me. And I feel very fortunate in that way, but other people weren't so fortunate, right? Other people were bullied because they watched anime, bullied because they liked video games, bullied because they would sit alone and they just wanted to be by themselves. Some people are going through things, and some people were just bullied for absolutely no reason, whether that was maybe their family was in a less fortunate position, or maybe just because people are like very cruel and need to teach their kids better, essentially. um and I know there was some people like that in my school specifically who were less fortunate than other people, and people tried to pick on them, and you know it was always weird. But in my school it was very different because it was like if you started picking on someone, you basically became a complete social outcast, essentially. Like it was kind of almost when you watch a movie and people are like, yeah, well, that's the school bully. Nobody talks to him. He has no friends. He's an absolute loser, essentially. It was never the school bully where it's like, yeah, that guy's a jock on the football team and he's friends with everybody in the school. There's never anything like that. But I know other people do deal with things like that. Just kind of in general. And unfortunately, this does lead to people kind of causing self harm in many different ways that it becomes very intense, I guess you could say, to the point where bullying is very, very, very bad, especially when you push over the edge. Because, like I said, with mine, where it was just like nitpicking, and it was like, oh, you don't play sports. It was whatever, right? But when you start poking at people's appearance, their hobbies, things that they can't really control, it becomes something of like, man, you are just a complete freak if you are bullying someone. Just 100%. And the reason we're talking about this today is because apparently Sam and Colby said that they got bullied in school. Basically just like on a podcast or something like that. If you don't know who Sam and Colby are, they basically have this channel where they go to places that are said to be haunted, and they investigate it to see if they have a paranormal experience or not. And these guys are like very, very like loved by their community. Like they have built an audience, and like I mean, fair enough. It's a very strong audience. I don't know how else to say it. But like they're just like cool guys, and they have a YouTube channel. It's a cool channel. A lot of their videos are really cool. If you haven't seen them before, would recommend going and checking them out. It's just something like a little bit fun to watch. And basically the thing that they said they got bullied for was because they would sit alone even though they had 1 to 2 million followers on like Vine or something like that. It's like I would probably sit alone too. No offense. Like they're already making probably more money than every single person in the school combined, right? But on top of that, it's like if you and your boy have a YouTube channel, a Vine channel, whatever it is, and you're going crazy on it, why would you want to go and sit with other people when you could probably sit at lunch and brainstorm like 5 ideas that are probably gonna, especially old YouTube. Keep this in mind. This is old YouTube, where you're probably gonna make like 50K for a video, for like getting, a couple thousand views essentially. So it's just crazy to me. It's always weird like this too. How bullying starts. Oh my God, they're sitting alone. It's like yeah, and they're also making more than you'll make in your entire lifetime. And that's not to be mean to anybody. It's just like it's always so strange to me. Like people will come up with the weirdest disses out of like absolutely nowhere just to make themselves feel a little bit better. And I think that's kind of where my point is today, where it's like, why is it that, especially in America, it feels socially acceptable to essentially put down others to make yourself feel slightly better? I've never really understood that. And I think that's kind of a lesson for everybody is if you want to genuinely feel better in your life, instead of trying to put down others, try to find a way that you could prop others up, find a way that would help others, it costs absolutely nothing to give a compliment to someone. I'm not saying you got to do it to everybody, and I think there is a level where it can become weird. I think, like, let's say you see a pretty girl, right? You could be like, hey, your hair is really nice, or you could be like, hey, I really love your piercings, or whatever it is, right? But if you're like, oh my god, your dress is so nice, it's like, bro, you're coming off as a creeper, you know. And that's probably why a lot of girls don't compliment guys, because you compliment a guy, right? And then they come off as like a creeper. And this kind of goes full circle back to, you know, to bullying in general. It's just like it's free to be kind, It's free to raise your children to be kind. And it's always crazy to me when like you're getting bullied for absolutely no reason. I think there is some bullies in general that they shouldn't be bullies, but at least their backstory like makes sense, Like it's like they have like major issues at home. I think you guys could probably think of some, but there's still people that turn out good in those situations. But when I keep saying but, sorry about that. But then when you really look at it, it's like the people who bully people the most are like the dweebs who have everything, have had everything handed to them their entire life. At least from my experience, like in life, is like, yeah, you do get some grouches that, maybe uh, didn't have that same privilege, right? But for the most part, the people who feel the most miserable in life are the people who have everything. And yeah, I've always just kind of found that weird. So that's all I really want to talk about today was Sam and Colby's bullying. It's like the weirdest thing ever. Basically, they got bullied because they were getting too famous. Oh, like what weirdos. But not Sam and Colby, but the people bullying them, obviously. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful night. Peace.